Welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. If you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting.
Everybody needs a roof.
That's right. 1-800-NEW ROOF. They're the best in the business. They're #1 in Pittsburgh. They do roofs, they do gutters, they do siding, they do windows. They do basically anything you need. That's why you get a call. Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW ROOF. Give us a call right now on the Borders to Borders hotline, 412-575-2600. Gene, I want to ask you real quick about Antonio Brown now. His latest, you weren't here yesterday, neither was I, but his latest drama outside. You know, I personally think that if he is found guilty or if there is video, the NFL should step in and he should be suspended or fined beyond that from the NFL.
I fully anticipate that's what will happen. I mean, it'll go through the process, but sure, the league will take a dim view of throwing things off a 14-story balcony.
Yeah, it's just crazy. All right, he didn't talk today, and we'll see if he talks on...
Well, it's not Friday.
Yeah, it's not Friday. We'll see if he talks on Friday, but...
Sometimes he talks on Thursday if it's something really pressing.
Maybe he will talk tomorrow, but what is he going to say? I mean, this is a legal issue. He's not going to be able to even say anything. Right. I mean, or even talk about why he did it.
I think that's what he'll say. I can't say anything.
Yeah, so... all right, let's go out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to David out in the south side. What's up, David?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to make that comment about Antonio Brown.
Okay.
In that $80,000 in a duffel bag.
Backpack.
You know, he could have got $80,000 in a cashier's checks. Then that way you have a money trail. See what it's, you know, what you're using it for. Anybody, and I know he's up there. He should be getting up there in age now. I guess he's approaching 30. Why is he walking around with 80 grand?
You know what, David?
In a duffel bag and didn't leave it.
He makes a lot more money than me, and I don't know what that's comparable to. You know, I mean, maybe it's nothing for him to walk around with $80,000 cash. I don't know. I can't. I don't make $17 million a year, so.
You don't?
No. So I mean, you know, look, it's you know, I feel uncomfortable walking around with $1,000, you know, cash or whatever. But you know, I can't imagine walking around with $80,000, have it in your house. So I don't know. When you make that much money, it's probably not a big deal, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I once found $20 on top of the microwave. I thought I'd won the lottery.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. You know, before we take another phone call here, I did want to mention, Gene, that Quentin Virginia's Pitt's best player, out for the year. Hurt in practice yesterday. That's a huge loss for them. And he was their best player, led the team in 4 different categories. And, you know, this is a struggling defense. And to lose Quentin Virginia's, he didn't play much last year. That's a big loss, but not only for him, too, because he's a senior. He's not going to be able to play again.
It's sad,
so.
And you know, there's no good week for that to happen, but this is probably the worst week for it.
Yeah, their biggest loss, the biggest week, you know, arguably one of their biggest weeks. And we'll be at Notre Dame. Let's go out to Josiah in San Antonio. What's up, Josiah?
Hey, Rich and Gene, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, just wanted to give a quick shout out to your phones screener Jay Kimball, Ron Cook, Stan Savran, Charlie, and Bob Pompiani. I was up there a few weeks ago for the Baltimore Ravens game.
Okay.
And you guys were phenomenal, man. Awesome. Let me see the studio, and I've been bragging about you guys.
That's really cool. Where was I? What game was it? It was the Baltimore game.
Against the Ravens.
Okay. Yeah, I was over there.
Yeah, it's all good because Bob, he signed my card. I got a picture with him. And Jay Kimball, he was awesome, man. But really what I wanted to speak about was quickly Joe Hayden against Julio Jones against Atlanta. Julio was, some say he's the best in the game. I doubt that. He didn't get his first catch into the 4th quarter, and that was pretty much in garbage time. So I think Joe Hayden, he deserves a lot of accolades. And secondly, I think the Steelers need Mike Hilton. He can disrupt the pass rusher off the blitz. Those 2 people right there, I think, are very crucial to the defense.
Yeah, I really like Mike Hilton. But I'll let you finish, Josiah. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. And I just wanted to say keep up the good work. I'm always bragging about you guys over at KDKA, and I appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot, Josiah. I appreciate you calling. You know, it's too bad I wasn't here. I would have liked to have met you. About Mike Hilton and Joe Hayden, I think Matt Ryan overthrew Julio Jones once or twice before that. But, you know, I would play this kind of script against every team, essentially. Put Joe Hayden on the best receiver. Take A.J. Green completely out of the mix.
Well, I mean, that's the theory. It doesn't always work, but yeah, I mean, Joe Hayden's shown that he's up to this kind of task, and that's a good thing for Mike Tomlin to have in his pocket. He did cover Julio Jones all the time, except when he was in the slot, and then, of course, Mike Hilton covered him and the safeties. And Mike Hilton does a good job, you know, on the pass rush too. He's what Mike Tomlin calls a vertical disruptor. He's a really good player. When he was not when he was not available against the Ravens, that really hurt.
Yeah, I mean, getting a guy like Hilton, a diamond in the rough, an undrafted free agent. Right. I mean, the Patriots cut him, they picked him up, and he was the best player, arguably the best player in the preseason last year. Made this team, and is definitely one of the biggest playmakers on the defense. A defense that really lacks playmakers.
Yep, he had caused some turnovers, got some turnovers last year, and he's right back at it this year.
You know, I would like to see Morgan Burnett play. You know, that's the guy that they brought in here, and I mean, Edmonds is getting better, but I want to see Morgan Burnett healthy and see if this defense can be better. We see Vince Williams is healthy. He practiced today. I wonder if that, you know, you wonder whether, you know, I mean, he's the starter, so he's better than L.J. Fort, but, you know, they had their best defensive performance without him in the lineup last week.
Yeah, I don't think those facts are related, but a lot of people are talking about it.
All right, back out to the phone lines. Let's go back out to, we're going to go out to Waylon out in, let's see, where are you, Waylon? Line 3 out in Washington. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hi, Gene. Hi, Richie.
Hey.
Hey, not much. Just like the special teams of the Steelers, like the coach, I'm not even sure who he is.
Danny Smith.
I'm not, you know, I'm happy with him, but what do you guys think? Any thoughts or comments about the Steelers special teams? That's all.
Oh, well, you know, they had a block punt last week. That was a good thing, Rosie Nix. You know, my one problem with the special teams with the Steelers, they never had a return game. Hardly ever. They never can find a returner. It looks like they have one this year with Switzer. You know,
Switzer's a little bit better than what they've had. That's true. Up until the Falcons game, special teams were basically terrible. You know, Boswell was still a little bit off his game. Barry he punted well against the Falcons, but not often up until then. They committed a lot of special team penalties. Up until the Falcons' special teams were terrible, I thought.
Yeah, Barry's either great or horrible, and Boswell, you know, that's something that we're not even talking about because the Steelers won the game, but Boswell missed another extra point. There's got to be something going on mentally. Maybe he has an injury. We haven't even seen him in the locker room yet this week. I saw him walk through. He hasn't been at his locker. We haven't had a chance to talk to him. He wasn't in the locker room after the game.
He's missed 3 extra points. I mean, a kicker like Boswell should go 6 years while missing 3 extra points.
You would think.
Not 5 games.
You would think. And then we have the pick kicker that's kicking 50-yarders like it's nothing over at Heinz Field. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls. Maybe some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.